For the first time in a month, the UFC weigh-ins have gone on without a hitch. No cancellations, no last-minute switcheroos, and the UFC Baku card stays intact. My name is Angelo. This is We Want Picks, and I'm going to break down the entire UFC Baku fight card, giving you my picks, predictions, and DraftKings Fantasy Plays. I film this video every Friday. Sometimes I film it Thursday and then release it on Friday, but given this week's early weigh-in, I said, let me wait till Friday so we can see the results and make sure nothing has materially changed. Some people love this video. Other people have already seen previous breakdowns and don't tune in. But one of our users absolutely loves this video. That's Jfeel. Jfeel commented on this video last week from UFC Atlanta, and he said, "This is my favorite WWP video by far. I won $729 last week in DraftKings from a $1 entry in a 25-cent game. I got first place in both. The optimizer picked my winning lineup." This guy spent $1.25. Used our optimizer, made $729. This is the optimizer he's talking about. It is available on the website at wewantpicks.com. It only cost $10 to unlock this for an entire month. So let's assume Jfeel did just that event, didn't touch it again for an entire month, never logged in again. So he spent $11.25, $10 for premium, $1.25 for his DraftKings entry, and he won $729. And what he did was come in here and click a few of these buttons. And if you're watching this and you say, "But what the hell is a DraftKings optimizer, Ange? I don't know how to do that." Well, guess what? We built the industry first beginner mode. So if you log in at wewantpicks.com, if you have that $10 premium membership, you just click the slider button in the optimizer for beginner mode, and instead of needing to know what the numbers mean and how to manipulate them, all you need to do is know how to answer some questions. The first one is, are there any fighters you absolutely do not want in any fantasy lineups? And you check those boxes and you move on. The next question is, who are your most confident favorites? And then who are your most confident underdogs? A few questions later, the optimizer builds the lineups for you. The optimizer is a tool. A lot of people get caught up in We Want Picks and the We Want Picks website having just picks. It's not just picks. There's a full suite of tools for different things. We have tools that help you find bets, tools that help you build DraftKings fantasy lineups like the optimizer, and tools like the event simulator that can do all of the above. What this does is it simulates every single fight on this card 100,000 times. And during those simulations, it's bringing in historical grappling stats, historical striking stats, and it's going to simulate the fights. And then you get the outputs of those simulations. For example, this just ran the simulations live while I was yapping about God knows what. And it is saying Jamal Hill in 100,000 simulations on average scores 54 DraftKings fantasy points in this fight. But if I want to say, well, how many strikes does he land? Because my sportsbook allows me to bet on significant strikes. Well, it's saying through the 100,000 on average, it's 58.23. The optimizer, the simulator, all the bets, all the tools, everything that we offer is available in one package. It's $10 for an entire month. There's no bullshit. There's no upcharge. There's no tiers. It's not like we bait you with $10 and then say, "Ooh, but to unlock." No, it's 10 flat across the board. WeWantPicks.com. Click Become a Member. At the top, you'll unlock it not only for this card, but UFC 317 next week, the Derek Lewis Fight Night after that, and then UFC 318 around the bend. WeWantPicks.com. Let's go ahead and jump into this fight card. It's a pretty good fight card, and it's a midday fight night. Sometimes I love those, sometimes I hate them, and it all really comes down to, do my kids have sports or not? If my kids have sports, those midday fight cards are tough, because I'm in a soccer field, like, trying to be a supportive dad, but also trying to run this business and, like, keep an eye on the fight so that I can film a recap. Luckily, it's dead summer. Our sports are at night because it's volleyball, so I can watch this all day, uninterrupted, clean. So I'm looking forward to this fight night. We're going to go ahead and open up this card with Hamdy Abdelwahab, and he's taking on Mohammed Usman. Here's the thing. Fade them both. They both absolutely suck. They both absolutely suck. Hamdy is technically an Olympic wrestler. And I said, I punched technically a little too hard there. Like, he is an Olympic wrestler. It's not, there was no, like, weird caveat. I didn't luck into it. He's an Olympic wrestler. The problem is, as a fist fighter, he's a little fat, he's a little sloppy, and he doesn't have enough cardio. If we look at his last fight, he got to take down the first. Had the little bit of a control, like the first round looked good. Then he gassed, and then his head just snapped back the rest of the fight, and he somehow got a close decision. In his first ever UFC fight in 2022, He beats Dontel Mays, a guy notorious for having no takedown defense. He had 3 takedowns, a good amount of control time. He actually scored pretty well with 100 fantasy points. Problem is, he pissed hot. He was doing the steroids. So he got suspended for 2 years, came back looking like shit. Here's the problem. Hamdy is an Olympic wrestler. If he shows up with Olympic wrestling cardio and an Olympic wrestling game plan, not only does he win this fight, he scores a gazillion points and he is worth his $8,600 price tag. But we have not seen him. We haven't seen it. He didn't look great in the Mays fight. He just fought a guy that can't defend takedowns. He looked pretty bad in the Pogues fight, and that's post-steroid use. And in this fight, he's fighting Mohammed Usman. Is Mohammed Usman a good fist fighter? No, he absolutely sucks. Is he a big dude who's athletic, trains pretty hard? Yeah, absolutely. My one real concern here is on our live stream last night, I did the live stream with community members. Jacob's literally on vacation. He's sipping margaritas, eating hot dogs, and that's not even a joke. He's quite literally in a tropical paradise eating hot dogs. Hot dogs in a tropical paradise. If that dude is not an American stereotype, he's just not fat. Other than that, he's an American stereotype through and through. Anyway, because the cat was away, the dog will play. Did I say the dog's away? The mice. I'm not the mouse, I'm big. Anyway, Jacob was gone, so I filmed the normal, fully breakdown live card with the community. Premium members called in. And during one of those, we got a comment that said, Kamaru Usman did an interview saying his brother doesn't even know if he wants to continue to fight. He's on the edge. He's on the fence. Does he want to continue his MMA career? Well, that's a problem because you're going to have to be fully dialed in. So now I have even more reservations. So I picked Hamdy because while Mohammed Usman is big and he's athletic and he does have some raw power, we've seen it, and he doesn't gas nearly as quickly as Hamdy does. I thought this would be a pretty close fight, so I was going to fade both sides. I don't think Mohammed's going to score well in a win, and he hasn't in the past. You can see his numbers here. I don't think Hamdy will if it looks like that trash fight that he had last time, so I was going to fade them both. But if Mohammed Usman's phoning into training camp and isn't prepared to defend a few takedowns early, well, then we could have a highly scoring Hamdy decision like he did in the Dontel Mays fight. So I'm still going to fade them both. I'm not going to put too much stock into Usman talking about his brother, but the reality is low-level heavyweight fight, and that's why it's the opener. They're just like, let's get this shit out of the way immediately. Then we have Tagir Ulanbekov taking in Azat Maksum. This is another tricky one to break down because I do think Tagir wins. He's part of that Khabib fight camp, and they all have that same game plan, right? Pretty good. Nothing amazing, but pretty good technical striking. Come forward. They are all massive for their weight classes, and they use the size, they use the strength, they use the wrestling to win the fights. Tagir in this fight will absolutely be bigger. He will be stronger. He will be slower. He's not the faster fighter. He will be slower. So he's going to use that size, slow the pace, and then drag Azat to the ground. The problem is, Azat is fast. He's athletic. So was Clayton Carpenter. And yes, Tagir won that fight. He had a handful of takedowns. He had some control time, some really nice scrambles, but he only scored 86 points. So in a fight that might mirror this one, to only score 86 points on a $9,300 salary is a little tricky. So I may end up fading Tagir, even though I think he wins. If we take a look at his opponent, Azat Maksum, this guy's actually very good everywhere. He's fast. He's got decent power. I mean, it's not incredible one-punch power, but because he's so fast and he times his strikes well, he can put people down. He's got very good wrestling, very good scramble skills. He's good literally everywhere. He is coming off that loss to Charles Johnson a little over a year ago. That was a wild fight because he had Charles Johnson almost finished twice. He almost finished that guy twice in the same fight, but Charles somehow gutted it out and then took over with the striking. I will give people a pass. Anybody who gasses in a fight because they almost finished their opponent, so they went balls out thinking they had it, and then they gas, it's okay. Better than doing nothing, patchy fucking mix. Better than doing nothing, Umar, dumbass, sigh. So Azat Maksum slowing down that fight, getting dotted up after almost finishing Charles Johnson twice. I'll give him a little bit of a pass. Tagir is going to be the pick. I'm undecided on the $9,300 because, again, he should win this fight. But if Azat has some solid scramble skills and makes it a little ugly and blah, 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 all of a sudden we may not get a highly scored fight here. But if Azat scrambles like crazy, pops up like crazy, and we end up with 5, 6, 7 takedowns, then it could be worth it. So Tagir's going to be the pick. I probably end up with him in a lineup, but we'll see what happens on fight night. Then we have Irina Alekseeva, and she's taking on Klaudia Sygula. Irina Alekseeva does look like Ivan Drago. I mean, if you've seen Rocky IV, this is it. Not only does she look like Ivan Drago, she looks like Ivan Drago's wife. She looks like them both. And she doesn't fight like them, though, because she is a Sambo world champion. If you don't know what Sambo is, it's like a watered-down MMA. It's like, you could call it a watered-down MMA, or you can call it judo with strikes. Either one is a good comparison. You go in there, you get some tosses, you get some throws, you are allowed to strike, and on the ground, you get some arm bars, some leg locks, and then you move on with your day. She is technically a world champion in that sport. But when she goes out there and fights, it's not as clean. She's just winging punches from her hip. She moves forward like a zombie. Now, she can get some really nice tosses. She's got some decent submissions. She does take risks. If you clinch up with her, she'll put you on your ass. The problem, though, is that if she ends up on her ass, she's going to hang out on bottom looking for submissions instead of trying to scramble up. So she could give up minutes, and she could give up time because she's just hanging out on her back, really accomplishing nothing. She is coming off this loss 2 years ago to Melissa Mullins, which is a name you're going to hear pretty often, and I'm about to say it again because Melissa Mullins also beat Klaudia Sygula, and I clicked on the wrong name. She also beat Klaudia Sygula in her last fight. Klaudia made her UFC debut and got dotted up, got pieced up. Klaudia is a powerful striker. She's not afraid to engage. She does prefer to dance around the outside, then find the clinch, and in the clinch is where she'll do her work. The problem is, in this fight, working in the clinch just means she's going to get tossed on her ass. She is coming off that loss, as I mentioned, to Melissa Mullins. I think she's going to lose another one here. Typically, what's the rule with women? Fade the pretty one? Well, I showed you Ivan Drago, and I showed you this one. So you can make up your own mind there. The problem is, will Irina find a finish? And if we weren't getting her off a 2-year layoff, I would be pretty confident, like, oh, you know what? With the Sambo, with the ability to toss her opponents, she is tough as shit. She moves forward. She bombs away. We've seen Klaudia finished as recently as her last fight. Let's throw Irina in our lineup. The problem is then you add a 2-year layoff, and you don't quite know what you're going to get after 2 full years away. So I am going to pick Irina. $8,900 is like right there. It's another fighter that I'm pretty confident in, but once I'm looking at the pricing, it gets a little tricky. And Melissa Mullins is in that exact same boat. This is a rematch. People want to hear that over and over and over. This first fight was 3 years ago. 3 years ago. And in 3 years, that early in their career, these fighters have evolved. They've changed. They're not the same fighter. So when I break a fight down like this, where neither one of them have a long storied career, they fought each other very early in their careers 3 years ago, I kind of ignore that fight and I break it down fresh. Everybody wants to talk about what happened in the first one. Fine. Melissa Mullins was getting her ass kicked on the feet, so she got the fight to the ground and she finished there. But this is going to be a different fight. Melissa Mullins' striking is better. Darya's takedown defense is better. So it's not going to be an exact rinse and repeat kind of matchup where Melissa's getting dotted up on the feet, gets an easy takedown and wins from there, especially on the Darya side. Darya's very familiar with what's about to happen, so she's going to be looking to defend takedowns. Melissa Mullins is not great. That's the problem here. We're looking at it as if she's some killer. She's not great. Technically speaking, she is a BJJ world champion, but I think she won the same tournament that Molly McCann won to get her fucking jiu-jitsu brown belt. Melissa Mullins is tough. She'll clinch. She'll fight at range. She will grapple. She can do all the things. She's not great. She's not great. Nora Cornole finished her. She's not great. That's the problem here. We have a not great woman who is $9,000, but she should win. I am picking her to win. She's fighting Darya. I'm not even going to attempt the last name. Darya's going to come forward. She'll throw everything at you. She'll kick, she'll punch, she'll throw it all at your face. She's got heavy 1-2s. She's got good leg kicks. She's got good body kicks. She's got heavy knees. She loves to walk you down. She loves to outwork people. The takedown defense is questionable. It is questionable. I mentioned Melissa was losing the striking the first time they fought, then got the takedown. In her last fight, Aylin Perez wasted no time. Took her down immediately. Got it done. But Aylin's a very, very good wrestler and a better wrestler than Melissa Mullins. And Darya's win over Montserrat Rendon is a good win. Like, this was a good win. Montserrat's pretty good. Certainly better than Melissa. So this is sort of a weird environment here where Melissa Mullins should win. She has won this fight. It's been a little while. Darya's also coming back after, a pretty straightforward got takedown submitted loss. So I'm going to go with Melissa Mullins here. We're at another price point that's a little tricky. If I have to pick between Melissa and Irina, I trust Melissa a little more because of the recency of her last fight and the activity. But I think Darya is the more skilled fighter. No, not Darya, sorry. Irina's the more skilled fighter. So we're in this weird paradox where we got a couple of big lady favorites. They both should win, but there's asterisks next to both of their names. Then we have Jun Park, and he's taking on Ismail Naurdiev. Jun Park, the Iron Turtle, is a name that we're familiar with because he has a lot of fights in the UFC, and he's been here for quite some time. And he's got a decent record in his last 5. He just beat an aging Brad Tavares, but still Brad Tavares nonetheless. He beat Duraev, he beat Dennis Tululin, he beat Holmes, who's no longer there. He beat Eric Anders, who I believe is no longer there. Kenny Nchukwi, or Tafan and Chukwi. I mean, he's got some good wins. Marc Andre. The problem is, you're going to see these good wins. You're going to see like, oh, look, sub. He's not dangerous. And yes, he's got a couple of sub wins, but pretty sure Holmes is, I'm positive Holmes was cut. Dennis Tululin's a striker. Like, these are wins over people who are sort of lacking in that department. Jun Park's a decent striker, a decent grappler. He's a pretty tough guy. He's well-rounded, but he's not dangerous, despite what a few of these submissions will say. He's coming off that win over Brad Tavares. That was just grit, decent fight IQ, and grit. Jun Park is amazing nowhere, but good everywhere. Problem is, he's priced as if he is very dangerous. This is fool's gold. All these submissions wins, that's a trick. That's an optical illusion. They're tricking you. Because he's not going to get a submission here. He's taking on Ismail. I say Naurdiev. There's no way it's a Naurdiev. Naurdiev. Ismail Naurdiev. I don't know. What the fuck? Anyway, he is not Joseph Holmes. He's not Eric. He is a very good fighter. He's going to be a little undersized because he bounces between welterweight and middleweight, but he is a good fighter. He's an aggressive striker. He's a solid grappler. He's competed as a kickboxer. He's competed as a wrestler. He's had a couple of stints in the UFC, as you can see here, a little bit in 2019 and 2020. Then he came back in last year in 2024, beats Bruno Silva. That is the Bruno Silva who now has a dent in his head. He's also not dangerous. So what we're going to have here is a 15-minute, probably somewhat back and forth kind of fight. But Ismail with the takedowns, should be able to get this done, exploit the takedown defense of Jun Park. We watch Andre Muniz take down Jun Park 9 times, 11 times, whatever the hell it was in that fight. This could absolutely be more of the same. I am on the Ismail side here. He's going to be the pick, and I will have him in my lineup at $7,500. That is a very affordable price point because I think he's one of the better dogs on this card. Then we have Oban Elliott taking on Seokhyeon Ko. Oban Elliott is the biggest favorite on this card, I believe. If he's not, it's Nazim Sadikov. It's close. And the line has steadily moved throughout the week. Oban Elliott is a very good striker. He's well-rounded overall. He's got 15 minutes of cardio with lots of tools in the bag. But when he's striking, he wants to play around on the outside, use the range, use the length, dot you up, then fully commit to the pocket and let his hands go. If he is taken down, he does a great job defending the submissions, trying to create scrambles and come back up instead of playing around on his back, looking for a submission that's not there. Overall, Oban is a very good guy who we know can get through some adversity. He just beat Basel Hafez in a fight that I think he was losing. And I'm pretty sure I checked the scorecards and they had him losing as well. And then he was able to get the knockout in the third round. So, while some of you may say he was losing to Basel Hafez, Basel's tough, man. Basel's just a gritty, tough guy that has a very solid grappling background. And Oban was undeterred, kept the power late, ended up getting that very big knockout to make this happen. He is taking on Seokhyeon Ko. Seokhyeon Ko is a guy that was supposed to make his UFC debut, 2-3 weeks ago. He wasn't able to. It was against Billy Ray Goff, and he couldn't get a visa. Seokhyeon Ko is a very stiff, powerful guy. And the stiffness is why he has power. He's just like coiled up. He's like, he doesn't have great footwork. He doesn't move. He's just sort of stiff and planted and waiting to uncoil. The punches come from a million miles away. They're hard as hell, so you can see them. He's obviously very dangerous because of that power, but because he throws everything with power and he doesn't have great footwork, he can get hit. He doesn't do a good job setting up the strikes because they're just giant, powerful strikes that are coming and everybody knows they're coming. He does have a good sprawl if you shoot a takedown on him because he's just so stiff. He just hips down. I don't know what the fuck that was. Anyway, I think his stiffness, his chasing big, huge punches is going to work against him here because Oban Elliott does flow. He moves his feet really well. He doesn't chase power, so he'll touch, touch, go, touch, touch, go. And as long as he doesn't get caught with something big, the Korean Tyson, as long as he doesn't get caught with something big, then he'll be fine. And the longer the fight goes, the better it is. I think Oban Elliott absolutely wins this fight. I think he wins early, meaning in like the first or second round. And because of that, I think he can score well. So I probably will have him in my lineup. Then we have Mohammed Naimov taking on Bogdan Grad. This is another spot where a lot of people love the dog here. And I kind of get it. Mohammed Naimov is a good fighter. He's a well-rounded guy. He can do all the things. He's going to look to strike early. Then he'll mix in some wrestling if he needs to. My biggest issue with Mohammed Naimov, even though he can do all the things, is he's not a killer. You're going to see he won against Eric Silva with a KO, TKO. That Eric Silva like broke his knee or some shit in 10 seconds in that fight. So that was not the quick win bonus. In under 1 minute, that was a freak injury. So Mohammed Naimov didn't win that fight. There was a freak injury. And he knocked out Jamie Chinny, old-ass, looks exactly like Jacob Malarkey in his UFC debut. He's not like a killer. What he is, though, is good. He's well-rounded. He's good everywhere. Every one of his skill sets, he's good. He was better than Khan Offley everywhere. A little bit better striker, a little bit better grappler. Khan's fucking tiny, but a little bit better everywhere. And my issue, though, is he was perfectly happy just being a little bit better everywhere. He was perfectly happy sort of squeaking out or coasting to an easy win, which is why he only scored 72 points. He never really chased a finish, never tried to do more, got the takedowns, was fine camping out, never hunted for that finish. And that could be a problem for him here because Bogdan Grad is a guy who does look for a finish. Bogdan Grad's a guy who will fight and is also undeterred. He was losing to Lucas Alexander in this fight. There was a wrestle-heavy game plan early, and it wasn't working. And then he found it in the second round. He was able to get it done. He scored 114 points because he came out wrestling. And despite getting touched up and it wasn't really working his way, he probably lost that first round. Then he came out in the second, more of the same, and absolutely got it done. So Bogdan Grad, a well-rounded guy, solid striking. He can use the wrestling. He sticks the jabs. He likes to set things up instead of just chasing. Bogdan Grad is good. This is a new weight class for him. He is jacked out of his mind, but in a new weight class, being jacked out of his mind, he may fade. And Naimov is not like, he doesn't have Marab cardio, but he's not a guy that's just going to slow down like crazy. So, I think Naimov wins this fight. I think Naimov wins a close fight, just like his last one. I think he's going to be slightly better everywhere, and even if he loses the first round, Bogdan should slow down, and then Naimov will be slightly better with better cardio everywhere. I think he's the slightly better striker, the slightly better wrestler. We probably end up with a decision here. If we don't have a decision, it's because Bogdan found the finish. Mohammed Naimov is going to be the pick, but I can't put him in my lineup. And if you are on the Grad side, $7,400 is a phenomenal price point for a guy who just put up 114 points. For a guy that if he does have cardio and he's at this new weight class, could look absolutely spectacular. Then we have Nazim Sadikov taking on Nicholas Mata. Nazim Sadikov, a very good striker. I think technically speaking, he is an Azerbaijanian. So I don't think he was born there. I think he's an American as far as his birth certificate is concerned, but this is his home country. The analogy I used on the stream last night was if I was in Italy. Was I born there? No. Am I actually an Italian citizen? Yes. I'm an American citizen and an Italian citizen. But I wasn't born there. I'm an American through and through. And I feel like that's Nazim. I don't know Nazim's full background, but I feel like that's the case. And the only reason I'm bringing all this up is because he will be at home. And there may be a hometown decision. He may get credit for being Azerbaijanian. He may not need it, though, because he's a very good striker. He's very clean. He's fast. He's accurate. He's got great footwork. He does all the things, and he does them well. Nazim Sadikov is a very, very good fighter. This Vyacheslav Borshev fight was a draw because Vaishlov, at this point in Vaishlov's career, actually, I think Nazim was the beginning of the end for Vaishlov's career. At this point in Vaishlov's career, he was the team alpha male striking coach, phenomenal striker, all those things, and Nazim went toe-to-toe with him, a little bit back and forth. He ended up getting his own knockdown. I believe this was a draw because of a 10-8 round on the Nazim side. The reality is Nazim's very good everywhere. He will occasionally take some risks. He took one in his only, see this one loss, his only ever MMA loss. He went for a spinning back fist and got his back taken, and that was it. But since then, he's looked absolutely fantastic. He's taken on Nicholas Mata. Nicholas Mata doesn't suck. So this line is pretending he sucks. The line is like, oh, this guy sucks, $6,800. He doesn't suck. He's got lightning fast hands. He's got good power. He just beat Mahashete everywhere. He knocked him down twice. He had a couple of control positions. He controlled that fight through and through. The Tom Nolan win. It's like, holy shit, he found some power against a hype prospect as an underdog. The Trey Ogden fight, he got bailed out there. He was going to lose that fight. He got bailed out. The referee fucked up. Fine. He also lost to Torres. Like, not fine. Not great. He beats Cameron Van Camp. That guy's a bum. No longer in the UFC. Loses to Jim Miller in his UFC debut. Got knocked out. So he can be knocked out. He's going to engage in a striking match. He can be knocked out. Nazim's probably a little bit of a better striker. So Nazim can win this fight, can win by finish. I'm going to pick Nazim. I'm probably going to put him in a lineup or two. But we can't just ignore that Nicholas Mata is actually a good fighter with some solid striking skills. Because he is, and this could get weird fast. Then we have Motobek Orobai taking on UFC newcomer Tafik Musayev. Motobek Orobai is the most affordable he's ever been. And that's not true. And his UFC debut is $100 cheaper. But he's a very affordable guy. And it feels like a discount because let's look at his UFC debut. 7 takedowns. Next fight, 5. His last fight, he only had 2, but that's because he fought Mataus Rebecki. Mataus Rebecki is very good. And while Motobek lost that fight, what it was nice to see is that this guy has dog in him. We knew that he could eat dog. I mean, this guy's a caveman. He would be mesmerized if he saw what you could do with a wheel. But we didn't quite see him in any dog fights because every fight he was in was pretty straightforward. But this was a dog fight. He got takedowns. He got taken down. He got dropped. He pushed through. He was scrambled on the ground. And in a loss like that, sometimes you're like, oh, this guy was overrated because he was $9,100. But my takeaway from that is like, holy shit, dude. Motobek will go to war. He doesn't just lean on the easy. It's not just like, super easy. I'm just going to get takedowns and be boring. And if things get tough, I'm all hammer, no nail. No, he can be both sides. He was a perfectly fine nail. He took his beating, put up 48 points in a fight that he lost. Motobek Orobai is an absolute dog who has very good wrestling. I think we can still say he's got a phenomenal chin despite being dropped in his last fight. That shot that dropped him in his last fight would have probably knocked out most other people. He's taking on UFC newcomer Tafik Musayev. Tafik Musayev is a local guy. He is Azerbaijani. He also has not fought in 2 years, and this is his UFC debut. Anytime you get that situation, it's a little tricky because why is he on this card? Is he on this card because he's been grinding for 2 years and he's in the gym and he's ready to go and this is a true signing? Or is he on this card because it just happens to be in Azerbaijan and he's got a good enough record? He's the former Risen champion. He's a good wrestler. He's a good striker. And he's wildly exciting. This guy is a very exciting fighter. This will not be a boring fight. Tafik gets after it. My question, though, is the 2-year layoff and this card. If this card was anywhere else in the world, would Tafik have been signed? Would he have accepted the fight? I don't know. I have a worrying feeling that he wasn't in like a real fight camp and he wasn't prepared. He wasn't looking forward to a big time fight. But the UFC said, hey, we're coming to your country. You're one of the best fighters in that country. You want on board? And he's like, fuck it. I'll get off the couch. Let's do it. So I think Motobek wins this fight. I think he wins even if Tafik is fully prepared, but Tafik is wildly dangerous. And if he is truly prepared and has been training his ass off, Tafik could find a finish here. Or could make this a dirty, gritty, ugly fight just like the last one that Orobai had. I'm going to pick Orobai. I think $8,500 is the discount of the century. I don't think we'll ever see him anywhere near that price point again. And as long as Tafik doesn't do something crazy early, Motobek should be able to get the takedowns, take over, make this fight happen. Motobek will be in my lineup. Then we have Curtis Blades taking on Rizvan Kunayev. This fight was supposed to happen in February. That was canceled. They moved it to March. That was canceled, and now here we are. Curtis Blades is a tough guy to break down because it's a story of two careers, and I'll show it to you right here. Right here. So he starts his career. Look at this. Takedowns in every fight. 2, 5, 8, 4, 10, 4, 7 takedowns, 5 takedowns, 14 takedowns. Derek Lewis knocks his ass immediately. Knocks his ass out. Gets a couple of takedowns against Rosenstruik, and that was in 2021. Guess how many he's had since then? The answer is 0. And it's not because people are defending him. He hasn't even attempted. He's attempted 0 takedowns in the last couple of years. Curtis Blades got a couple of knockouts. And because he had these 2 knockouts, he's like, ooh, baby, I never need to wrestle again. The problem is he does. Because he doesn't have a chin. Pavlovic knocked him out. Aspinall just knocked him out. So Curtis Blades is a giant dude that when he wrestles is a force to be dealt with. But if he just wants to strike, yeah, maybe he'll have some success. You can see he knocked out Almeida, but that's kind of misleading. He got taken down 9 times, and then Almeida froze up, and Curtis just hit his head like this on the side and found the finish. So Curtis Blades is a tough guy to break down because I don't know what version of it. Is he going to try to wrestle here, or is he going to try to strike? If he tries to strike, I don't know, because the chin isn't exactly great. Oop, not this dude. The chin isn't exactly great. He's taking on former steroid user Rizvan Kunayev. Because Rizvan Kunayev got caught. Pissed hot. Got caught. Got suspended. He's got a decent career in the PFL for a little while. Beat the PFL heavyweight champion, or at least the former one, before they got, what the hell's his name? Francis Ngannou. He's decent everywhere. Like, he's not very good. He's kind of trash, actually, but he's decent. The leg kicks are decent. He does wing punches. Those aren't great, but he's got a little bit of power in there. When he closes the distance, he wants to grind you to cage, drag you to the ground. He does have a Contender Series win, and that's how he ended up here. The reality is Kunayev is not what you would expect him to be with that last name. He'll bomb punches. He will look to wrestle, but he's not a great wrestler. Kunayev is a guy that can have success in this fight, but he basically needs to cover up, get Curtis against the cage, and drag him to the ground. Can that happen? Maybe. We saw Almeida take Curtis down 9 times, but those are shots. Defending true shots is very different than defending against the cage. I do not think Rizvan's going to win here. I think we're going to be against the cage quite a bit. Curtis is the bigger dude. I think he'll get his underhook, stay off the cage, let his hands go. But Curtis doesn't have a chin. If Rizvan's shooting doubles, it's a very different fight. I'm going to fade Curtis Blades here. It just feels like his career is on the wrong slope. So no Curtis Blades for me, despite him being a pretty large favorite. Then we have the co-main event of the evening, Ignacio Bahamondes. He's taking on Rafael Fiziev. Ignacio Bahamondes is giant. He's 6'3" at this weight class, and he uses that length really, really well. He'll touch you up at distance. He'll send long kicks. He'll get things going. Ignacio Bahamondes is a very good striker. He's a dog shit wrestler. Takedown defense is good, though. It's at 85%. The offensive wrestling, awful. He has 0 takedowns in the UFC, and he has attempted them. I believe he's attempted 5, so he's 0 for 5. He's coming off that triangle win over Jalen Turner, which is a big win, but Jalen immediately retired on the spot. The Torres finish was nice. Gallego's finish, neither one of them are, like, very good. The Ludovic Klein loss is what could be tricky because Ludovic Klein is similar to Rafael Fiziev, where Ludovic Klein's a good striker. Ludovic Klein can wrestle. He's a well-rounded guy. And he was able to get this done because the striking obviously was clean, but then he worked in very well-timed takedowns. And Ignacio Bahamondes dealing with the striking, then having some takedowns come his way, wasn't fully prepared for that. But outside of that, he's looked very good. The only other fight he lost was his UFC debut against John McDessie, where John is just, at that point in time, 4 years ago, still had some juice left. Very good kickboxer. He's taking on Rafael Fiziev. He is the dog in this fight. He opened as a pretty big favorite. The line went just and then full flipped. Fiziev is a very good striker. He is the former Muay Thai striking coach. He can be technical. He can be fast. He can have a ton of power. He does an amazing job working in his combinations. Rafael Fiziev can get after it. He also can get sucked into a war that he shouldn't be in. That's what happened in both of the Gaethje fights. He abandoned his technical striking, just ends up in a war. And you're not going to go toe-to-toe with Justin Gaethje. Not in a war. In a clean technical fight, you could have success. But in a war, Justin Gaethje's not the guy. And it turned Fiziev into a wrestler. He had 2 takedowns. It turned him into a wrestler. Fiziev got dropped in that fight as well. But if we look at this recent 3-fight skid, he lost to Justin Gaethje in a back-and-forth war where I think the takedown in the 3rd round was the difference there, and that was on Gaethje's side. Then he gets his knee blown out in the Gamrot fight. Then he comes back after a year and a half or whatever it is, fights Gaethje again on short notice, slows down a little bit, doesn't look amazing, things aren't perfect. So Gaethje all of a sudden is able to grind through and get that win. And now the narrative is Fiziev is slowing down. Fiziev is a fade. And somebody had a great point on the call-in show that I did last night where they said, everybody said Usman was done as well. And then Usman showed up, his knees were working, he looked good. And I don't think Fiziev is done. This breakdown isn't, this guy is old, he's slow, he's washed. To me, the breakdown is Ignacio was just so long, so clean, so dangerous. And every time I've broken down this fight, I said my head and my gut are split. My brain is saying you got to go Fiziev. He's the better striker. It should be a striking match. But my gut is saying Ignacio Bahamondes seems to be on this run right now. He has more ways to finish. He's got the striking. He's got the submissions. He has more ways to win. So Ignacio Bahamondes is going to be my pick. You probably want exposure to both of them if you have multiple lineups. Then we've got the main event, Khalil Rountree. He's taking on Jamal Hill. Khalil Rountree is coming off this loss to Alex Pereira. This was a fight that people said he did not deserve to be in, yet he was in it. And he went toe-to-toe with the hardest striker in the division. Yeah, he got finished, but it was in the 4th round. After having some success, he went after Alex. He wasn't afraid. He took his beating, landed his own clean shots. He's a good, fast, powerful striker. And before that fight, people were like, oh, he sucks. Oh, he doesn't deserve this fight. That's Alex just avoiding Ankalaev. He was on a 5-fight win streak. Literally the longest active win streak in the division. A longer active win streak, or longer win streak than Ankalaev had at the time. But they're not the best wins. He beats Bukakis. He beats Robertson. This was probably a robbery decision. Knocks out Daukaus. Knocks out Anthony Smith. But he did show everybody he belonged when he fought Alex Pereira. He's taking on Jamal Hill. Jamal Hill's a pretty unlikable guy because when he lost to Alex Pereira, after becoming the world champion, then blowing out his Achilles, and putting it all on the line a year later, he loses to Alex Pereira in kind of a weird circumstance. And then he went on this tirade, this whole bullshit, and he was wildly unlikable, lost every fan that he had up until that point. But in this last fight against Yuri Prochazka, I think he earned some of them back. Yuri Prochazka just came at Jamal Hill. They went toe-to-toe. He was in his face. And yes, he technically got the finish in the 3rd round and he beat Jamal Hill down. But Jamal didn't wilt. He didn't turn away. He didn't turn soft. Jamal showed us that he can be in a dogfight if he needs to be. Jamal Hill's a long guy with good range control and good footwork. I have said this multiple times and I'm going to do it again. I said he had good footwork in my first video. You guys, he has trash footwork. What fight did his footwork suck? His footwork has looked good. That's literally how he beat Glover Teixeira. He won the world championship with phenomenal footwork. He was able to stay away from the takedowns, move perfectly well, land the clean shots. The Alex Pereira loss was too fast to show any footwork. And Yuri Prochazka, I don't care what your footwork is, that guy's just moving forward like a train. So I think Jamal Hill has good footwork. He's a long, rangy guy, certainly the longer one here. And if he can stay on the outside and not play this inside the pocket, dirty, nasty Muay Thai game that Khalil is known for, then Jamal can win this fight. I'm going to pick Khalil Rountree. I'm probably going to put him in my lineup because I think the upside is on his side. I think if Jamal wins this fight, I don't think he's going to knock out Khalil early. I think he'll have some early success and then potentially slow down a little bit because we just saw the beating Khalil can take. This could be a really fun fight. Really get after it, hopefully, and not a staring contest. But guys, that's the breakdown. Be like Jfeel. Jfeel's a premium member. Jfeel won $729 using this DraftKings optimizer right here. So unlock the optimizer, all the picks, all the bets, and all the tools. It's only $10 for an entire month. UFC 317 is next week. We've got 2 fight nights and UFC 318. That's 4 fight cards with 2 pay-per-views. It's $10. What an absolute joke. And here's the community. It's Jules. And by Jules, I mean it's tools. It's picks. It's bets. There's an artificial intelligence. It's everything you could ever need. WeWantPicks.com. Click Become a Member at the top. I appreciate you being here, and good luck this weekend.